join discord.gg/flatearth and enter a check-in room. Someone will come along and verify you to get involved in the conversation about our Earth.
Is questioning, and he's not going to interrupt. Do you guys have the time to speak to him?
Yeah. It's not
He
the
is-
same dude
He
from
is
the other
from
day,
Dallas.
is it?
He is very intelligent, and he is very grounded in our same principles similarly. And I'm not going to speak. He's right here. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's your
How's
name?
I'm doing tonight.
Good. What can we call you?
Jamal.
Jamal. Hey, Jamal.
Yeah.
I'm AJ.
Thank you, Jedi.
Thank you for acknowledging me, man. I appreciate you. So I just want to know what's up, man.
He's curious.
I'm a round Earth theorist.
Yeah, okay.
So what's gonna convince me that flat Earth's real?
Well, I suppose you can only convince yourself. We can only lead you in the right direction and tell you the truth, and then the rest of it's up to you. We can't change anyone's mind in here.
Well, can we go down the path and see what happens?
Yeah, we can do that.
Also, I am very contentious, so I apologize if I, push back.
So then, all right, what would be some questions you would have for us to begin with?
Why flat Earth? We've seen pictures.
Because from what we can see, the Earth is measurably flat.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so we can see that although we have all these pictures, not photos, they're all data that's apparently been joined together.
Mm-hmm.
When we actually go out and do these measurements ourselves, whether that be through surveying, whether that be celestial navigation, or other measurements that we take, we can see that we can't find this drop over distance or this curvature that is required.
I understand where you're coming from. I do understand where that's coming from. So then at this point, what would it take to prove to the rest of the world that the Earth is flat?
Isn't that the golden question?
Yeah. We were just discussing here, actually.
Ironically, yeah.
Well, I don't.
Well, in your opinions, I would love to know.
Well, I don't think we can. I don't think we can because
every person's evidence is going to be dependent on themselves, because it's not the same thing is going to convince everyone. If you ask, all of us that are here, what convinced you, it's going to be different for everyone, because not everything will click for every person.
They're the observer of their own reality.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people are indoctrinated, and this is what we were just discussing earlier. I suppose it's dependent on whether you actually question things and look into things that you hear. I didn't do well at school because I always questioned everything I was told. I would always argue back, and I suppose that's continued on. If I see something that interests me, I won't just read it and believe it. I will try and go and look into it and formulate my own, what would you say,
opinion
opinion on the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So then we might have some questions for yourself, and the first one would be, who in history do you know of that's ever directly measured that drop over distance required for a globe?
Measured?
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't matter whether you know or not. We're just
distance. It's not possible if there's no drop over distance at that point.
Well, there has to be drop over distance for us to be living on a sphere.
So, explain to me the definition of drop over distance.
Well, wherever we're standing on a sphere, we're really at the highest point, and the Earth is going to drop away from us at a certain rate.
Right.
So what we ask is, in history, can we find anybody or can you show anybody who has directly measured this curvature or this drop over distance?
So you're saying I'm on top of the Empire State Building and I look east, or let's say I look west because that's where there's more land. Then you're saying that the curvature is not there and thus the world is flat.
Basically, yes. If there is no curvature in something, what is it?
I understand.
They have measurements. That's all theoretical.
It's all theoretical. Okay.
Yeah. And then our question,
else?
our second question would be, who has ever directly measured the Earth's rotation? So we know we're told that it rotates on its axis.
Mm-hmm.
Who and how have they actually measured that to prove that?
Hold on, give me a second, because I'm gonna look it up.
Am I coming through clear? I'm hearing myself
Yes.
a little bit fuzzy.
No, you're good.
You're not going to find it.
Yeah, and it's not about Googling it, I suppose. It's more about, what you actually know, rather than, at the moment, rather than what you can research.
No, and I get it, because if I Google it, there's also a chance that it's fake, and that's the propaganda that people are spreading.
Well, I think the biggest thing we're trying to establish, and there's one more question here that we like to ask, is that we get a lot of people that come in here stating that they know the Earth is a globe, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we ask these questions, they don't know who's ever measured the curvature, they don't know who's ever measured the rotation, and they can't give us an example of this last question, gas pressure next to low pressure without containment. It's something that we cannot do or see on the Earth. So
the first two questions you asked me out of the blue, which means that I would not be able to answer them no matter what. I don't know if Sam Watwell did that, and I just don't know. But the third question,
which would be gas pressure without containment. So we know and we can see on the Earth that whenever we have gas pressure, and it's actually a gas law, that gas pressure requires containment. The antecedent to gas pressure is the particles bouncing off the wall of the container, just like in your car tire. And then we also can see through entropy that when the gas particles get hotter, the gas particles get more excited, they hit the walls of the container harder. Therefore, like your car tire, when you drive over a distance and your tire heats up, that the gas pressure increases in your tire. Now, if you were to put a hole in that tire, then that high pressure is going to vent into the available space around it, or the lower pressure atmo around us, until the pressure equalizes. So there's two laws there. We've got gas laws requiring a containment, and then we have entropy of gases, which is a thermodynamics law. So the globe tells us that we have this open system of 15 psi on the Earth directly next to the vacuum of space. Now, the globe argument is usually that it's not a perfect vacuum, but that's regardless of whether it is. It's a near perfect vacuum. But we can see this same effect occurring on the Earth where we don't even have a vacuum on the outside. It's just low pressure high pressure always fills low pressure without containment to prevent it. So what we're looking for is an example of gas pressure without containment on the Earth, and it's not able to be done.
Gas pressure without containment on the Earth.
Yes. So, for an example,
what does that have to do with flat Earth theory?
So, we've got two options here. We can be on a flat topographical plane.
Yep.
With some type of containment. Now, we don't like to say what that is because we would only be speculating. We can't get up there. We can't see. We don't know what's going on. Some people will quote the Bible and say that there's a firmament or a solid dome of some sort over the top. But, in this instance, we probably wouldn't run with that because, again, it's not factual. It's people's beliefs.
Sorry.
But
there is factual method. My bad, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right. Go your angle. I've probably spoken a bit now.
It's okay. I was just going to back your point with saying that one way you can tell with pressure is about mountains, and then there's a specific pressure there from the temperature that you can tell, a height of a mountain or whatnot, right? So just backing up that. That's all.
Yeah. So do you understand that one?
I do. So where does the Earth end? It's on the corner.
Well, again, that's
Yeah.
something that we can't see or we can go to. If you know anything about the Antarctic Treaty, you
But
would
there
know
has
that
to be
we.
a place where it ends.
Well-
how we can know where is that?
We can't know that because we're not allowed there. So, according to the flat Earth or to this topographical plane, I think we like to call it true Earth or real Earth, we have Antarctica around the outside. Now, Antarctica is not big cliffs and all this stuff that we're told. Antarctica is just the shoreline. So if we're looking at a lake or a pond, we know that the lake or the pond has a shoreline, and that is what Antarctica is. It's the shoreline of our pond, I suppose you could describe it as. Beyond that, we don't know because we can't go there. So not only can we not go there due to the Antarctic Treaty that says we can't go past the 60th parallel without, what would you say? You can't go on your own. Yeah, you can't just go and travel independently. And secondly, the conditions don't allow us to do that. However,
so what's
there are.
the theory of what's on the other side of that?
We don't.
Well, some people have a theory that it's this containment or this dome of sorts, and other people have the theory that there is other land and other worlds out there, and that comes from a guy named Admiral Byrd, who actually did explore after World War II and stated that he could see land the size, I think it was, of New York or something like that, on the other side of Antarctica that was actually green, plants, all this sorts of stuff. And then once he came back and reported this stuff is when all of the countries in the world agreed to impart this Antarctic Treaty where no one can enter. And they still agree today, even though we have all these wars and all these arguments, this is one thing that everybody still agrees on, or all these countries still agree on, is this Antarctic Treaty, and they work together with it.
Jedi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jedi.
Yeah, I would say just don't try to go all the way out to the Antarctic. Just start with your own personal perspective.
So what do you guys think about Kyrie Irving?
About who, sorry?
Please don't do that.
About who?
Kyrie
Kyrie
Irving is
I'm from Dallas.
it's
He's a basketball player. He believes in the flat Earth theory. And I don't know what y'all thoughts are.
there is no flat Earth theory.
The idea that the Earth was flat.
There is no idea that Earth is flat.
It is flat from
It
the
is flat.
measurements.
The
What sounds more for yourself?
what's the better word?
I
for
mean,
idea?
what sounds
What's
more?
the better word, guys?
Yeah, you got to start with your own perspective.
What- What sounds more real to yourself?
Well,
are you on a ball where in Australia I'm technically hanging upside down, spinning around in circles at 1,000 miles an hour with water curving? We know the Earth's 75% water. We also know that the dynamics of water is that they find and maintain level when it rests. So, what seems more crazy, spinning on a space ball through space with bendy water or standing on a flat topographical plane?
Without motion.
Yeah, which is what we witness. Because people come in here and say, you're crazy. You're crazy. How can the Earth be flat? Well, I feel like the crazy position is that we're spinning through infinite space on a ball at 1,000 miles an hour with curvy, bendy water. That just doesn't make no sense in my head.
So if that's the case, then is the sun flat?
To add to that,
No.
no matter how high you go, right? No matter how high you go, you have the horizon at eye
Is it-
level. So matter
And
how
No,
is-
my
hard.
question is
Can I? You
flat?
ask. You ask.
Sorry,
Is it sun? You ask. Is it sun flat? Can I ask you now? Is it sun spherical?
Yeah, we have no idea. I'm just asking you. Is it flat?
I'm
Well-
asking you now. Is it spherical?
Based on what I see in the sky.
Really?
So how can we tell what the lights in the sky
Yeah.
are if we can't go there? Now we can have a look at a car coming towards us. I think Dave gave a good example of this on something I listened to today.
Another
And-
question: How the circular thing? What you see? What I see? What I see the circular thing in the sky. How that you know that it's spherical?
I'm here.
Who are you talking about?
How
He's
the,
saying-
how the circular circle? Because sun is circle. What I see in the sky, I cannot see the sphere in the sky. I see
You
the
can't see the
circle.
sphere, you see the sun. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay.
And
Well,
further to
Are
that,
you saying then
No.
that all the planets that we can see from a telescope are all flat?
well, when we actually look at them through
No.
a telescope, what we see is a light. We don't see a physical hard Earth, or if you
Well,
understand
it's a
what I'm
light
saying.
That takes years to get to us, but what you see is a spherical thing.
So they say.
No,
No.
you don't
Or
see
are
the
you just seeing
spherical
the
thing.
flat part of the physical thing?
You don't see spherical planets, man.
Start with your own perception, then go out. Is what I would say. Just go out and test, and or whatever. Look for your, what's in front of you first. Start going all the way out to space, find out where the
And-
lies are at.
And that question, it's ask yourself that question what you are asking us, because we are like you, the people, That mean I don't know what sun is, I don't know what planet is, you don't know, you will never know. We cannot go out because it's closed system, because of gas pressure.
So why would NASA lie to us?
Oh my God. Everybody.
For the money.
Can I answer that one?
Yeah.
Guys, can I
I-
answer that one? I was going to
Okay.
say,
No. Let me pick who
Why-
can answer it. Let me pick who can answer it.
why does a liar lie? Can you tell me why a liar lies?
Why does a liar lie?
Yeah, you're
Why?
asking us why a liar lies. Can you tell us
Depends
why a
on the
liar lies?
situation. Maybe he's trying to get into a girl's pants.
Maybe.
Come on now.
So with the globe, all we can do is speculate. So yes, there's speculation. We can say that it's about money. We can say it's about power. We can say it's about control. We could say that it's in direct opposition to the Bible. There's many things that we could say. However, we would be speculating because we can't tell you why a liar lies. We can't tell you their motive behind their lies.
Yeah.
Can I answer now?
Yeah, go.
If they have no motive to lie, if they are not, if it's not possibility to lie, that means that water is curving.
Keeps us small.
Because if they have no any motive to lie, that means that Earth cannot be flat.
What is it? The last part? I'm sorry. If they have no motive to lie, what?
Then water will curve in reality.
I'm saying you got to start from your own perspective and then move out. Answer all those questions on your own. If you effort into it to find them.
If they have no motive to lie, then somehow the gas pressure doesn't need container.
So who's the most famous flat earther
Who
earther
gives a fuck?
that you know?
Earth itself.
Discover it.
Well, I mean, most are on their own journey, and there's certain people that do certain things, but around
Well,
on
one
the
that
internet.
promotes it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so if you have a look on the internet, everyone has different arguments. So we've got guys like people in here that like to stick to the really is, what we can actually prove, what we can actually test, what we can actually see. So that would be people like Nathan Oakley on the internet. There'd be people in here as well, like Helioskeptic. We've got Miggy in here, or Mayhem. Some of the mods and people who have been here a lot longer. But then we can also see there's other people like Witsit, Gets It, who's doing really well at the moment. Some of the stuff he is doing, I would say, is still speculation, but he's trying to look a lot further into this and come up with some more answers for Flat Earth, as well as pulling apart all the science behind, well, the supposed science, what we would call pseudoscience behind the globe. So he's going very deep into gravity, you know, all these other different subjects that come up about the globe, and he's actually pulling them apart from the inside and showing where they're wrong. So there's a few big guys, but they may not necessarily all be doing the same thing.
So let me ask you something.
Like it's like a magic show, and you're trying to find out how he did it.
So let me ask you something.
It really is.
Let me ask you guys something, all right? The gravity of a flat Earth would be much different from the gravity of a spherical Earth.
Okay, so first of all, we would need to prove that gravity actually existed. So do you have some evidence to say that gravity exists?
So what happens when you drop a egg or a feather?
Okay,
Where?
so do you know
Where?
do you understand what the definition of science is and what the scientific method is? Because what's happened is this has been hijacked, and we're led to believe that what we have is science. But I'd like to show you that it's actually not. So is there something that you would have other than that to prove gravity? Because science is the study of the physical and
How about
naturally
when I-
occurring world. And then we also have the scientific method. So according to what you've just said, we're at the first step of that scientific method. We've witnessed an occurrence. You've dropped something, and it's gone down at an average of 9.7 meters per second or whatever squared, whatever their equation is. It's not set in stone, it's an average. So where we're at the moment is that first step. We've witnessed the occurrence, you've dropped something, it's gone down. So from there, we need to go through the scientific method.
Well, give me an example of the scientific method, because I haven't done that since.
Oh,
And I'm being not facetious, but it's been since 7th grade.
No, that's fair. We don't really use it or practice it in our regular lives.
Yeah.
No, so the scientific method would be you would witness an occurrence, you would question it,
Mm-hmm.
you would form a hypothesis on why
Yep.
that occurred, you would test it with
Mhm.
dependent and independent variables
Mm-hmm.
to see whether that was what was really making that thing go down.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have a look at gravity, all right, today's gravity is the warping and bending of space and time. So if we were to imagine that if you were to put a bowling ball in the middle of your bed or a trampoline,
Mm-hmm.
that extra weight creates like a funnel. So when that funnel occurs and you roll a marble around it, well, then this marble is going to roll around and round and round until it eventually rolls down in this funnel, or what they would call a gravity well. So knowing that
Wait, I'm
science
sorry.
is,
If you put a bowling ball on a bed,
yeah, so
Just a-
say you had a trampoline. You know what a trampoline is, yeah? I don't know, I'm in Australia, so it might be a different...
I mean, I'm poor, but I have jumped on a trampoline once in a while.
Okay, so now if you were to get a bowling ball or a big weight and you were to drop that in the middle of your trampoline, that would create like a funnel down to that bowling ball, wouldn't it?
Oh, so like when you put a quarter in that machine and it went all the
Yeah.
way around.
Exactly the same. So
Yeah.
this is what gravity is. So they're telling us that the planet, the Earth, or these other planets
Mhm.
are actually bending and warping space and time, like that trampoline is being warped. Yeah?
But
So,
it's not. It's the trampoline is being warped.
yes, but they're saying that space is being warped. They're saying that the fabric of space, I suppose you could explain it, although there is no fabric of space, is warping, and that is creating that gravity well, that funnel. So if we go back and look at science and we say science is the study of the physical, something manifest that we can see, and natural world, how do you bend a concept? How do you bend space? And how do you bend time, as both are a human-made concept? How is that now science if it's only a concept and not physical that can be tested with independent variables?
It can be tested.
It
Can I
can or
try
it can't.
No, I mean, there's,
It's a
And then we
physical
could.
item. You're saying that it cannot be tested as
Well, it's not physical. Is time a physical? Can you hand me a piece of time, or can you hand me a
time.
piece of space?
I can give you a piece of space. It's called real estate.
It's thin air. It's all around us. Yeah, you can't hand me space. You can't hand me the air around us.
Oh, you want to own the air
you said it
of
was
the
provable, so I was wondering how you would prove it then.
If you're looking at space, what is space? If you're looking out into space, is there a physical fabric? Is it just space? Is it just the vacuum, or where we're standing, it's just the air or atmo? Are you able to give me a piece of that?
Give him the triangle GPS, please.
Well, yeah.
See where his head's going.
And secondly to that, we can see that Einstein's gravity was actually, I think it was 99% incorrect, and it was another physicist that came along and proved this. And then this is where they came up with the concept of dark matter. So there was not enough gravity in the universe to hold everything in its orbits the way we were told it was. So rather than just throwing that out altogether and saying, well, hang on a second, that doesn't work, what they did was they said, well, there must be something else there that makes it work. We can't see it. We can't test it. We can't, it doesn't interact with anything. We don't know what it is. However, it must be
There's got a
there,
name to it.
which is dark matter. And
But
then
it's not provable.
no, and then
It's
what they
like,
do is they give a mathematical equation
it's
to
like a
make everything
circular-
work.
Yes.
It's not
I actually
provable.
did use a trampoline and spherical balls to demonstrate this as well. Now, if you think about, well, just replace those spherical balls with cubes.
With what?
Big difference. Okay, they actually used this to demonstrate. Like scientists actually used the whole like trampoline fabric thing and threw out spheres out there, right? So they put one sphere in there, and then they pushed a whole bunch of them, and they were orbiting around it. Well, if you turn those into cubes, you don't have the same scenario. I'm just giving an opposition on it because they didn't even use what he's trying to say is they're not using not using a demonstrable reality.
They're not using science. They're using pseudoscience. There's something that they can't physically see. It's something that's not manifest.
That
It's
I
something.
agree with.
It's something that's
That I
a
agree.
concept.
Yep.
Make
Yeah.
the assumption they have to use that as the baseline. They
Yeah.
have zero baseline evidence.
No,
just
they
like a line
create a
on
baseline.
triangle.
So we would say that
And then they create a
the up and
baseline.
down is
Yeah, man. That's whatever they want. Yeah, they want to fucking run the world.
Thank you.
Well, they are.
so we would say that gravity is no more than buoyancy and density.
Thank you.
And we can actually see and test that. And then there is other flat earthers that are now going into
So how do I disrupt that
electrostatics.
Yes,
Because we can see with electrostatics that we can actually put something in to a generator, and we can change the charge in there, and we can actually make things lift up and float and defy this gravity. So, like I said,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was saying, how do I disrupt my own personal voice?
So she is similar to mine. He's very, very nice. So thank you guys, everybody.
I'm ready to.
So I don't know how you would manipulate yourself personally, because if you were to use an electric charge, you'd need a massive electric charge and you would be dead.
Oh,
But in saying that, like we said, we can say that there's buoyancy and density. We can see that. We can test that. We know that a helium balloon goes up. We know that there is no downward bias to things. Some things go up. Some things stay neutral. Some things go down. We can say that's buoyancy and density. And like I said, there is other flat earthers now that are looking into electrostatics, setting the vector, whether that be up or down, according to the density and buoyancy of that object. Again, that can be manipulated. Gravity can't. But again, that's not something that we can say is 100% correct either.
I understand. You guys have really enlightened me today.
do want to just touch on those 3 points again, just for anybody that wants to like talk shit. It really meant a lot to me, Jedi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jedi.
It's AJ, not Jedi. I think Jedi is just listening in at the moment. Is he? Is he here? But so the 3 points would be who in history has ever measured the Earth's curvature, drop over distance?
Mm-hmm.
Who in history has ever directly measured the Earth's rotation? And how can we have gas pressure without containment, without our
That's the most
mode?
of gas pressure.
Yeah.
I'm just telling my friend, like, we need to remember this. Yeah. Thank you, man.
You just don't deny what you see. You know what I mean? Like when you go out to the coast, you see the horizon; it's completely flat. Don't tell yourself it's weird. It's
Well, we just need to look at all these words they use. The horizon, the horizontal line that we see where the sky meets the earth, or the aeroplane flying through the sky over a flat plane. If we have a look at
this level, yeah.
Yeah, if we have a look at how, we do navigation, we're forming 2 straight lines to measure an angle. We require 2 straight lines for an angle. So nothing that they tell us adds up in reality. And we can show that these things they tell us are in fact not scientific, but pseudoscience.
No, I understand.
I love the angle triangle. It's my favorite argument. Thank you, guys.
Really is.
All right, guys. Sorry for disrupting.
No, mate, you're welcome here anytime. And if you ever feel like joining and grabbing an account and coming in here and have a proper chat, then feel free. If you ever do it, just jump in here and jump into voice check-in 1 and someone will give you a voice role. And you can come in here and fill your boots and ask as many questions as you want.
Yeah, I have a account with you guys. It's called Brown Hammer 7770. I will make sure to join soon.
Yay!
Yeah, we'll love to see you and talk to you some more, man.
Talk to you guys soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That's pretty stress-free.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a little bit more productive than the last dude she brought in.
You did a good job too. So, just boom, 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 boom. It was very well laid out.
Thank you. I'm practicing. I've got to stop umming and ahhing between my sentences.
He's like, I didn't drop my hand cards this time.
You totally laid it out perfect, dude. I mean, really, you did. That was like.
It also helped he was very receptive and open to new ideas, and I think that is a primary and key thing.
Oh, 100%. Otherwise, it just descends into a shit fight, doesn't it?
There was a lot of times he caught himself, like, where he wanted to interject and be like, but no, wait, and stuff, but he, like, stopped and let you finish and, like, continue on and stuff, and just, the more he actually listened, the more he was just like, hold on, wait a second. And that's the thing, people just need to actually listen. They need to not hear you, they need to listen to what you're saying.
I agree. There's all different kinds of points that are leading to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that they have to understand that this belief they have that this is scientific is just not science. I think if you can try and point that out to begin with and they realize, hang on, this isn't science like I've been told, then maybe that will get them to start questioning.
Yeah.
Just start with your eyes. What you see. That's
yeah, like you said, he was worried about planets and the sun and space, and it's like, oh, let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. Like, look down the street. Let's look out the beach. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you don't need to worry about any of that. None of that even matters if you can prove 5 feet in front of you is not real. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's like I say, all you need is the curve. Like, if someone can actually get and understand that concept of the curve, like 1.2 miles out, where's my curve at?
You can prove that with your eyesight. Boom, done.
Yes, right? Why is my horizon farther than 1.2 miles? Not possible.
It is not possible. You can't get a curve out of a horizontal fucking line. What the fuck?
Not at 1.2 miles. That's much.
Dude, it's like your peripheral. Well, most people's peripheral was 3 miles, but So you should get something there.
Yeah.
Also, when you rise up above, you should see some type of curvature displacement of where you're at from, if it was a ball like you had mentioned, which was great, a great visual. But yeah.
Tags! What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.